What's happening, crypto fam? You're tuned in to the Elite Wealth Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of crushing it in the Web3 and cryptocurrency space. My name's Tyler Brewer, alongside the co-host Garrison Raleigh, and since 2016, we've been educating, enriching, and empowering thousands of students across the world on how to make waves and create generational wealth in this space.
Each episode, Tyler and I keep it real with you, analyzing the top market movers and industry leaders, the latest news, and how to avoid the potholes on the road to crypto riches. We're industry vets who have guided students to over 500% gains in this wild 2024 market.
We will teach you how to level up your mindset and skills to really capitalize on this decentralized revolution.
Subscribe now and join us every week as we lead you step by step into elite digital wealth with the Elite Wealth Podcast.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Elite Wealth Podcast. What's up, Garrison? And also, we have a special guest. He is an elite athlete, a serial entrepreneur, a servant leader, someone who's coached over 100 plus students, not even just students in all walks of life, but in basketball and the game. And it's crazy how games can relate to real life and the skills, the philosophies, everything you do on a daily basis. But we have an elite guest. What's up, RJ? Awesome to have you here, bro. How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm feeling great. Thank you for having me. At the end of the day, I definitely appreciate you guys, just bringing me on here and just kind of having this chat. And I've been good, man. I'm just waiting to hear these questions and kind of like banging out and really talk to you guys about what's up.
Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, no, it's a good day. It's actually today is December 19th. We're coming up around Christmas time, so I appreciate you for setting some time aside to join us today. And I know everything seems to be chaotic around this time of year. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
big time.
I guess we can just jump right into it. A good first question is really like, obviously, I'm sure you've been into basketball since you were like pretty much from the get. Like it's something that you've wanted to do forever. So what kind of drew you into basketball and like wanted to stick with it, and kind of a little bit about your childhood, where you came from?
Geez. Well, funny enough, basketball was not my first sport
Oh,
whatsoever.
okay.
I didn't think I was actually going to be a hooper, actually. My pop started me off with soccer, and I fell in love with soccer.
Okay.
I think that was the first actual like sport that came into my life. Everything else was like kind of like after, played a big role after. But yeah, I came from, Scarborough, Canada, Toronto from T. And for me, it was honestly like, how can I say? It was just like any other life, I would say like anybody picked up something, just said, hey, I'm gonna run with it. But I picked soccer, and I ended up actually getting a lot of injuries through soccer. And I kind of said, you know what? No. And I actually had an older cousin, uh, about like 3 years older than me, from Barbados. That's like where my mom's from. And yeah, he was on the national team at the time. And he showed me 2K. And I was like, when we played 2K, I think it was 2K like 7 or 8. And he could grab like a guy that was like 6 foot, just do a tomahawk back scratcher. I'm like, wait. I'm like, well, yo, guys that short could jump that high. Say word. I was like, it was a lot more fun. Just looking at the sport, and I naturally had that, I would say, that draw to it, right? That sparkle in my eye. I was like, yo, that's it. So ever since then, I, bought a basketball, asked my mom for some shoes. And then from there, I just started hooping, right? And I just started falling in love with the game. First people I really started like admiring was like Magic Johnson, the way he passed the ball at his height, being able to throw lobs from like half court, full court almost. And it was
Right.
just good. I was just like seeing all those old highlights, and then like D Rose, Kobe, and I'm a really big Kobe fan. So like for me, it was, yeah, just the mentality of just getting better and just bettering yourself. I think that's who kind of like fueled I would say my career to this day. So yeah, no, that's where I kind of like, stand from in that whole point of basketball. I've been playing basketball for, I want to say now, almost a decade, almost 10 years plus. And I've been able to, be top 10 in my class back in high school, college. I was supposed to go Ohio State. Um, but my mom got sick at the time, so I decided to stay home and really take care of family at that point. And from there, I was just like, all right, like kind of getting into the investment side, or why like I even jumped into it was because I was working 3 jobs at the time. And for me, I was just like, yo, I can't work three jobs and then try to go play professional basketball.
Right.
Right. Because back then, for us, we only knew that it was just the NBA or that's it. But nowadays, it's like it's overseas. You can go to Japan, you can go to, Greece, you can go to like Italy, Spain, Turkey, wherever it is, and just hoop. So once I knew that kind of going after, I needed a bigger income, a better way of making income. And one of my friends actually introduced me to trading, and ever since then, that was another love that just kind of came into my life and really changed my life for the better because I haven't worked a job in the last like 4 years, 5 years, since I think my first bull run. So yeah, kind of
Let's
looking at it.
go.
Yeah. So for me, that's like kind of my lifestyle about it. But I'll kind of like dive in a little bit deeper as the questions go through. But yeah, that's
Definitely,
just the
bro.
basics.
Definitely. No, honestly, you gave us a lot to work with there, bro. Growing up, I played a lot of sports, and I would say basketball was probably my favorite, but by no means, the only spot I was good for is on the 3-point range because I'm 5'7" on a good day, bro, maybe 5'8". So anywhere inside the three line, bro, I'm getting stuffed. I,
Yeah.
I can't
Hey,
even get
that's
a
why you gotta have a
shot.
floater, right?
Yeah. But yeah, bro, basketball is definitely one of my favorites. Growing up, we had a lot of kids in the neighborhood, and my dad put a basketball hoop in our driveway, so we were always having games in the driveway, and definitely one of my more probably my favorite sports to play, especially one of the ones I played along the way.
Mhm.
You said you're from Toronto. It's probably getting a little chilly up there. We got Kobe with
Yeah.
the Mamba mentality. And honestly, bro, when you said Kobe, it kind of gave me chills because like your voice kind of like honestly, like it kind of resembles him, especially through the mic. It gave me the chills a little bit. And I respect Kobe a lot. I like him a lot. And honestly, I'd probably say he's one of the most dedicated, passionate players in all of basketball. Maybe there are some that will probably say, are up there in talent. I can't really
Mhm.
argue that. I don't know enough facts or anything along the sports line, but his mentality, bro, I think is one of the greatest. That dude was in just putting in work nonstop, and it was inspiring. And when you put in all that work, it's honestly you inspire other people along the way to become better. The harder you work, the more you do, the more you inspire. And it's honestly it's nice to see people like that. And bro, you kind of give off that vibe where you seem like a hard worker. You get to do what you love, and it's awesome to see that. And as far as trading, as far as investing, how did you get into trading and investing? Like how do you go from playing sports to investing?
Yeah, like it was like I said, going from like, working three jobs, and I'll list those three jobs right now. Like the first one was basically a basketball camp at my current college I was at in Toronto, after signing with them. And then of course the second job was actually working at the YMCA as a basketball instructor. And then the third job was actually helping kids with autism. Because my program that I was taking was fine recreation and leisure services, and then I also took business behind that too as well. And honestly, like, it was just all about helping people. And I'm like, yo, I'm helping people, but I'm not getting paid my energy or my worth. And, like I said, one of my friends kind of introduced me into trading. He's like, yo, have you ever like, made money through your phone? I'm like, back then, I'm like looking at like 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, you're looking at it in 2018, 2019. I'm like, that's a thing. Like I saw that in movies where if you're trading from your phone, you're trading in your house. Yo, the SWAT team's busting down your door and saying, yo, freeze. So I was just like, yo, like as long as it's legal, my parents always told me take the opportunity, always run with it and do the best that you can, of course, within your own passions and within your own love. And, I took it as a passion, I ran with it and I never looked back since. And I used my last like $300, $400 to get into it. I maxed out my credit card, everything. And it was just like, I'm making more than the average person and I'm still working three jobs. I'm still here struggling. So I'm like, yo, I need to get better with my money and my finances. So boom, that's how I got into trading.
Yeah, and what's crazy too, I think, bro, is you see even like in, like any major sport, the big leagues, bro, you see all like how many of these players and athletes have like made millions of dollars, bro, and just blew it all. And like that to me is like it's the equivalent of when Garrison and I were kind of like, dude, like how are people paying this much for NFTs but have no education on crypto? Like you're losing this NFT that you just paid how much money for, bro? And you don't know what you're doing. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of like what led us to the educational side of things here in the crypto realm. And kind of a similar aspect I see there with like the athletes, bro, right? Because you're making how much money being a professional athlete? You're an elite person, even
Yeah,
if it's at one thing or multiple things, specifically sports. But like you think like, how could you be such an elite level person, and then you're like your finances level is like, you think of
so
like you're my
low.
player in 2K, bro. Like, yo, your
Yeah,
your finance level is like a 20, bro, and your dunks at like a 99. Like, brother, you should have
yeah,
freaking allocated your stats a little
yeah, a
differently.
little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and it's crazy now because like the athletes now that are being signed to like NCAA and like even universities and colleges over here, like they're getting paid more money than I was getting paid back in school. So it's just like I'm here. Like you guys can get
Yeah.
your own sneaker deal by the time you're in college. Like for me, it's mind blowing. And the fact they don't some athletes like I've been I got a chance to grow up with like Nikhil Alexander Walker. I had Corey Joseph's dad as my coach, so I got to meet Corey Joseph and like Kyle Lowry and DeMar when these guys were all here in Toronto. And like I'm here thinking in my head, I'm like, damn, I'm like now looking at their finances, like a lot of those guys are well set off and good. And I've seen some Canadians that have come out of the gates being number one draft picks and even top 10, not never be heard of again. And I'm just like here thinking in my head, I'm like, where did those guys go? And it goes just based off finance. And I think to the one thing I could say off of that is now I think a good thing that athletes are doing is they're going into their passion, right? And that's where they really get that extra side hustle money, and that's where they're actually investing their money into now. Before it was just straight basketball and probably girls and food or whatever the case may be. But nowadays, I think some of the athletes are getting a little bit smarter. So thank God. But I definitely want to help the rest of those athletes figure out what they want to do with the rest of their cash going forward. And that's the goal.
Yeah, that's important because like we said, so many people have just made so much money and not been able to do anything with it or lose it all. And especially when you're a college kid and you're making millions of dollars, like odds are you're not, they didn't teach this stuff in high school, what to do with your money and how to use it and how to make it go far for you.
No, I
So a
had
lot of
one
the
unit, and it's
yeah,
funny. I had one unit in probably in grade 10 on how to do your taxes. Everything else, none.
they taught us how to write a
Um,
check though. They taught us how to write a check.
I ain't seen a check, bro, since I was able to write one, but I learned how to write one.
that's the crazy part. It's just like I don't know, the school system, the way I look at it now, we haven't changed in the last 100 years. But
Exactly.
like our technology, our style, our communications jumped, have evolved within that time so much faster. Transportation, everything, digital, everything's just grown. So why are we not changing that? I think that's the biggest head scratcher, and I really want everyone to really understand that part because it's like if we're not really seeing what the masses are not changing, then it's like we have to be the ones changing it then going
Facts.
forward.
Facts, bro. 100%. And I agree. I think by now I think there's a larger percentage of people who are like, dude, why are we doing this? When I was in schools, you had to be like the black sheep to like, like that was like, you know, what do you mean you don't like, why aren't you doing this, bro? Like you were kind of like odd for not thinking it was like this is what we should be doing.
Mm,
And I can remember that. But bro, one thing you made me think of too, right? Shaq. Maybe Shaq made a wave, bro, because I actually got to see Shaq speak. I want to say it was at the GoPro network marketing event in 2018. I
oh,
went
nice.
to I went out to that event with my girlfriend at the time. I went with her aunt. She was, big baller. She paid for my whole trip, bro. I was broker
Oh,
than a joke. And luckily, dude, I went there and I believe it was there where I got to hear him speak, dude. And it changed my whole perspective on, like athletes, because growing up, even like my perspective on athletes was they just play sports. Like that was
mhm.
it. They don't do anything else. But then you have Shaq over here, bro. He's got multiple business. I think he owns a lot of Starbuckses, or
Yeah, he does.
Starbucks. I tried to make that plural, but but yeah, he owns a lot of
Papa
Starbucks,
John's, yeah, I think
Papa
too as well.
John's.
It's
Yep.
crazy. He's everywhere. Like any random commercial, you look to the side of the road or something, you'll see Shaq, like just
Got gummy
everywhere.
bears now, bro. Gummy Shack heads. I've seen
Yeah.
them the other day. I'm not a fan of them, unfortunately. Sorry, Shaq.
Hey
But
man,
yeah, no, it's good to see that. I think it's good to see that, bro. And I think even really the overall masses, it feels. like more people are starting to care about money. And I tell people all the time, it doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like. We all have, or what you like to do, even. We all have one thing in common, and it's money. We all do something for money. And it's
Yeah.
crazy, bro, because the average person works thousands of hours. I used to know the exact stat, thousands of hours for money, but they never even invest 40 hours, 100 hours learning what money is. And I think, dude, if more people just spent a work week learning what money is, it would change their whole perspective on life, which leads me to my next question. What's the biggest lesson from sports that's translated into your business success?
Jeez. I would say just dedication and communication. You know, you have to be dedicated to yourself to just grow so much in such little time. Some people set a lot of goals and sometimes don't end up hitting it, but it's like sometimes if you don't hit it, it's okay. It's a part of the journey. I think Kobe said it the best, and I'm gonna be referencing him a lot. You know, you gotta enjoy the journey. You don't rest in the middle. You finish. You rest at the end, not in the beginning. So going from there and just kind of looking at that, and even the communication part, and the reason why I'm going to touch upon more about the communication part is like you can't not ask for help. You can't be the smartest person in the room and just be talking. You got to be like the dumbest person in the room sometimes and just figure out what's going on,
Yeah.
right? Like I was always asking, I was always watching, I was always like having an open ear, always voice noting, recording people. And I asked, I'm like, hey, can I record you before? Some people I didn't. And I'm like, yo, I'm here listening over the amount of audios I have on my phone. I have over 1,000 plus audios of people that have made over 6 to 9 figures. And like these are conversations that I've had with them or trainings that they've ran or just even like side conversations I've been able to be a part of and just heard it. So for me, like, yeah, communication is definitely key and listening is also a big key. Cause like when I tell all my players and all my athletes and even all my mentees when it comes to trading and stuff, like you have to be an active listener. You have to be an active communicator in order for you to grow. If you don't want to, if you don't want to grow, then I mean, there's a part where you can be teachable and coachable. A lot of people end up being coachable, right, but not teachable. If that makes sense for you guys, right? Because you can teach somebody how to do. Actually, no, sorry, reverse it. You can actually teach somebody how to make a move, but then you can't coach them on when to use the move. That's where like that part kind of lies in and falls in when as an athlete, when I kind of tell my athletes, say, hey, look, when you use this move in this situation, it's off a roll. And same thing when it comes to investments. Like, hey, crypto went an all-time high. You should have took some money out and reinvest it now on this low, right? Same thing. People end up being teachable, but they're not coachable, quote unquote. So
I
yeah,
like
Yeah.
that.
what I've learned.
Yeah, I used to be a wrestler, so a lot of like the mindset and everything to be a wrestler is pretty you got to have a strong mindset for sure to want to stick with it and get beat up every day. And I was by no means, I was not a good wrestler. So I would just be
I
in
was
the
gonna say,
practice room
yo, I'm like, I don't see some belts back there. I don't.
Yeah. WWE
I
wrestling,
got
bro.
some medals. I think they're in there. I think they're in there. But yeah, like it's important to be coachable because you're never going to be the smartest person in the room. Maybe sometimes you will be, but the next room you go into, you'll be the dumbest person in the room. So it's always good to like I like that you said ask questions and Tyler always says say that quote, Tyler.
I wrote it down so I
That's
didn't forget
cool.
it. But the person who asks the most questions gets the most answers.
Yeah.
It's like you said, the coachability, the teachability. What Ty Lopez actually, I learned it from him in like 2016. I took a 67 steps course, and that's kind of what started my whole journey.
Hmm.
And he talks about like your coachability, teachability index. Like how willing are you to like take like whatever somebody tells you and change it. Like if they tell you, "Hey, you suck at this, you need to change it." Are you going to get emotional? Are you going to take like defense to it, or
Yeah.
can you say, "Hey, look, do I suck? What are my results?" Like you got to actually think.
You got to
And
reflect.
yeah, the self-reflection. And one of the biggest thing, the best thing I ever learned from college, bro, my professor, I'll never forget her name, bro. I only learned one thing from her, but it was one of the most valuable things. Her name's Virginia Bowie. And she wrote down on the board, she says, think about what you think about. And like until that moment, bro, like I was just a drifter, drifting in the wind. Whatever flowed upon my thoughts, bro, was like taking like any external impression, internal impression was changing what I was doing. And I think, dude, you haven't even necessarily said it. You said dedication, but like one thing I've noticed about you, bro, is you're obsessed. You're obsessed, you're addicted even. And some people put like a negative connotation on addiction because you can have great addictions. If your addiction is going to the gym, working out and becoming better, it's a great addiction. Like, you
Yeah.
know, that's a great thing to be addicted to doing. But one
For
thing
sure.
I've noticed, bro, is you're obsessed. Like from the three jobs you said, they were all similar things. They were basketball, basketball, helping people. And that's awesome, bro. And I think that's even like a cheat code maybe that people can take away from this too is complete obsession, bro. And like the person who loves to run, right? Like if you're running a race, the person who loves to run is gonna run farther than the person who's running to the finish line.
Yeah.
When you like figure out like you love the journey, like you said, Kobe says, like enjoy the journey. That's the best part. It's and Jim Rohn actually says another quote too, where he says, set a goal to make $1 million, but not to make $1 million, but because of what you become on the journey to make $1 million along
Yeah.
the process. Like, you know, normally some average Joe Schmo isn't going to just stumble upon $1 million. Usually it's the hard worker who's dedicated to something and works hard for it who gets it. And yeah, bro, it's so awesome, like just listening to you, hearing your story, and like seeing how all these things in life doesn't matter the walks of life, but all these things that you're talking about, like how they relate to almost the same thing. And it's really the secret of the universe, which is what you think about most of the time, you become.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, like at the end of the day, it's like when I really tell people, I'm like, yo, if you really want something to change, you really take the time and do it. And no matter how difficult it may get, no matter how hard it may get, you might have your breakdowns. It's okay to break down. It's okay, like, and especially as a man, like, I think now because of what's going on in the world with, I'm not going to talk about it, but, you know, as men being masculine in this time, it's like, guys back in the day couldn't cry. It's like, yo, you gotta let it out some way, shape, or form. It doesn't have to be like you ball out and tell you, you break out your eyes, but like, you just gotta let it out sometimes, you know what I mean? And you
Yep.
just go back to work. And as long as you, I think, embrace how you feel and channel it the right way, within those chakras, with however you want to use it, when in terms of energy, you just pour it back into what you do. Like I've had times where I'm just here, I'm about to snap the ball in half or pop the ball in half with my hands, but like I know I'm not gonna be able to do that because like I know what I need to work on, right? It's my emotions, it's how I'm reading the game. After one shot, if I miss it, it's okay. Next one. And I'll tell everybody that next one. If you have like you go 0 and 12 in trading, you know, take the time, reflect. Don't just say, like I blew my account. Like I'm not trading, I'm done with this. No, take the time. Ask yourself why. Did you jump in too early? Was your stop loss too tight? Were you over leveraging? Right? Did you forget about it? What was your mind at? Did you break up with your girl? Or did you have a fight with your family? Like any of those things all play a big factor. So I feel like if you just understand yourself as an individual, especially as an athlete, yeah, it's just so much easier just kind of succeeding into where you need to be. Because I'm nowhere near close to all my goals yet, but I know I'm right there. I always say to myself, I'm right there. I have my vision board and everything. It's right beside my bed. Everything is right there within arm's length. It's just who are you attracting to help you grow that goal, right? Or find that vision with. Because I feel like individual goals are nice, but I think being able to incorporate people into bigger goals and bigger affirmations and bigger success is where those individuals that make 6 to 7, 9 figures really lie. And that's why, like, I wanted to collab with you guys so much too as well, because like I could see it, I could feel it, and I'm already envisioning it already off the rip. So, like I said, I appreciate you guys for asking these questions too as well, but that's where, it kind of stands.
Of course, bro. It's crazy too because I think like even when you get asked questions, bro, when somebody asks you questions, you actually end up learning more. And like even on interviews and podcasts like this, sometimes after like I'm like, dang, bro, like I'm so glad we like went over that. Like in my head, because like it almost builds confidence. It builds
Hmm.
confidence because then you get to really talk about and think about like, oh, why do I want this? Why do I do this? Oh yeah, I do. I am a beast, bro. I do this consistently. I do wake up even though I don't feel like doing it, because
Hmm.
that's what true dedication is. Nobody cares how you feel. You made a commitment, bro. You said you'd go coach these 50 people tomorrow. Of course you got to still go, even though you don't want to. You don't feel good or your ankle's swollen, like Kobe, bro. He shows up,
Yeah.
he's got people, got people relying on you, counting on you, paid their
On
last
the
dollar to come see you. And
right.
bro, like that is like the most inspiring part, creating inspiration because you're inspiring. And
Mm-hmm.
in return, like, at Garrison, when Garrison first started getting into trading, dude, there was a lot of stuff like he asked me that I have no idea. And he's
Mm-hmm.
looking to me like I'm supposed to know sometimes, like especially early on. Now I looked at him, I'm like, yo, bro, what do I do? Like what NFT, this, that.
Mm-hmm.
But on the first come up, bro, like he would ask me these questions, and because he asked those questions, not only did he get an answer, but so did I. Like I learned more in the process. So it's awesome to have people that you can coach that rely on you because they also teach you in the process of doing it.
Yeah,
And
and
you,
how to be a better coach and a
yeah,
better leader at the end of the day. Because like, I don't know, the way I look at life now, it's like whoever you lead, they also lead you in a way, right? And that's like a quote even for myself. I hold that to my chest every day. Whoever I lead is always gonna end up leading me in some way, shape, or form. Um, if it's just managing my emotions, my eating, my spirituality, and just like overall, just I think obsession to where I want to go, right, with everything. So yeah, no, just saying with that, like everyone, you gotta learn from everybody. You gotta be a sponge. You gotta see the good habits and the bad habits from everybody, and just take what makes sense for you and run with it. Because like when I looked at Kobe, I'm like, yo, the obsession, just like the killer man mentality. It's like, yo, I don't care who's in front of me. It's me versus me at the end of the day, and I'm
yeah.
gonna kill the weaker me to get the
Yeah.
stronger self out of me, right? And if I gotta break every bone in my body, if I gotta like pull my hair out, I'll have to do it, right? No matter no matter how crazy it is. That's how you just gotta look at it. So if it's a game where like I only had 15, I'm gonna try to go for 30. If it's 30, it's 40. All right. If it's shooting percentage, if I shot like 25%, I gotta shoot 50%. Come on, we gotta do it, right? And if it's same thing with trading, hey, look, only made $200 this week. I know next week pulls 400 or 600 or 6K, 6,000, 60 bands. It doesn't matter. Just gotta make it that goal and run with it. All right.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing like that I always, to keep myself going and is think about like when you have to go get food, you're just gonna go get food. You're gonna do it. When you want to download a new video game and figure out how to play it, you're gonna read through the directions, you're gonna learn how to play it, and you're just gonna do it. Like you're not even necessarily gonna think that you're doing something crazy, but imagine if you could apply that to your business or your goals, figure out what you have to do, go get it, and just get it done. And
Mm-hmm.
that's one thing that I've noticed that a lot of, high value people do is like they don't, like Tyler said, nobody asked for complaints. You didn't, they just do it, bro. They don't sit there complain. And if you focus on the negative and everything, you're probably gonna be suppressed and not get to where you want. But one thing I always challenge myself to do, no matter what the situation is find the it could be the most negative thing and I could probably still find something positive about it. So that's one thing I always challenge myself to do is find the positive in something, remember why you're doing it, and then just keep going.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. I agree with that. At the end of the day, like I think that's the biggest thing that people need to always understand. It's like you, you just have to take whatever you want to work on and just go with it. Doesn't matter how the journey may look or how it's gonna be structured. You just gotta figure it out. Like life is not life if you're not struggling, right?
Right.
And if you're not uncomfortable. Once you get uncomfortable, or once you're always uncomfortable, you will always be top tier. But once you become comfortable, that's when you that's when you start to lose yourself, right? You
Yeah.
become that 99%, not that 1%, not the 10%. You just fall back into a regular person.
That reminds me of one, my bad to cut you off if I did.
You're good.
One thing my wrestling coach always said is be comfortable being uncomfortable, literally what you just said. And it
Mhm.
was key, especially in any sport. Like, you can't panic if say you're in basketball and you got three people around you, you're in the corner. You can't panic. You got to sit there, think logically how you're going to get out of it. And sometimes you won't. Sometimes you'll fail to get out of it. Maybe you'll turn the ball over, but um in wrestling, like if I'm on my back, I have to be comfortable and think about how I'm going to get out of it instead of just shutting down and crashing.
Yeah.
Um and yeah, it's just key to always be pushing forward and not get comfortable. Yeah, I like that. That reminded me of a quote that he always said. So
Yeah. I don't. I always tell my guys never back down. Like that's one of my slogans for Strong to Lead, which is my basketball skill enhancement. Never back down to any situation or anybody. Or I always take everything head on and just you know don't don't bow down to the fact that you can't do it. Like if I hear one of my players, I heard one of my players actually say, "I can't do this ball handling drill." I said, "Shut the fuck up." Sorry, my language. And I'm like, you can. Don't ever put yourself
yeah,
in a box. Once you put yourself in a box, like it's okay. Like Kobe did say this. It's like I had a box, an imaginary box, and like whatever I did, I made true. And when I looked at it, I'm like, I'm like, is that like his form of mentality? Is my like his mindset, his vision towards it? And he's like, yeah. They asked him that, and I'm just here thinking in my head, I'm like, yo, do not shrink your box. Do not shrink your mind to the things that you can't do at the moment. I never really say to myself, I can't do this. I'll
yeah.
struggle in it. I'll fight through it, but I will never say I can't do this.
I
Right.
try to eliminate words like that.
Yeah. Cause
I
it spells at the end of the day, like, like this is not our language. Like there's a lot of us that have come from so many different backgrounds and we don't speak our native tongue anymore. And it sucks. But like at the same time though, like looking at the day and age now, it's like you have so much power in what you say. And once you do that, your subconscious already puts that ceiling on you, right? Or shrinks you down. So if you can understand that like I can do it, but I'm gonna struggle now, but I'm gonna get through it, boom, you just gotta fine tune it. You just gotta look at it. You really gotta dissect it to a point where it just looks easy. You just get that, oh snap, like it's that simple. It's like that
yeah.
one, like have you guys ever had that time? Like I don't know if you guys are gamers, but like I know there was like Street Fighter or like Mortal Kombat where there'd be like certain combos and you're saying, yo, I can't get it. Or like that cheat code you're trying to do in
For
Grand Theft
real.
Auto or something. And you're here just trying to figure it out. And then, you take the time, you keep trying it, and then you slow it down, you speed it up, you do it in certain areas and it starts boom, light bulb moment
It's
and
like
it
muscle
happens.
memory. I could probably pick up a controller and do some of those combos right now.
Right. Right. And even when it comes down to like even like doing a certain move or like ball handling skills or just even like dunking like that was also like a thing because a lot of people even used to say to me because like I'm 6'1" on a good day, but six overall. And like a lot of people always used to tell me before I even like when I got serious about basketball, like, oh, you ain't even gonna play college, hey, you're not gonna dunk. And I'm like thinking, why? I'm like, you're stupid. I'm doing all those things. And literally, there was one day like I'd be trying almost every day to dunk. I'm like 5'7" at that point. I'm like, I'm not even getting off the like, I'm not even getting my wrist over the rim right now. And like one guy told me, he's like, yo, you got to do 100 calf raises a day. I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, bet, say no more. So I did it. Next day, I couldn't feel my legs. I couldn't walk. I couldn't walk. But
Bro, it's
the next
walking
few days,
different.
right? Yeah, no, I was like, I was limping. I was like almost crawling a little bit. My calves are just tight. So the next couple of days, I rest up, and then I'm like, yo, wait. I get into the gym, I warm up, and I try dunking. I flushed it. I'm just like, wait, whoa, wait, no, no
That's
way. I'm like,
awesome.
yeah. And then from there, it's just like, yeah, I lived above the rim all times. So it was just fun. But just, I always love to hear it when people say, I can't do it. To me, like when some people say, yo, you can't do it, that immediate fire just goes right up.
Motivates you.
Right. But even when you say it to yourself, now you have to dissect on why you're saying it. What's
Yep.
making you say that? Once you figure out that part, you figure out the rest of your success.
Yeah, bro. Really, they're just projecting on you. That's because they don't believe they could ever do it. Like,
Mhm,
and you made a amazing point, bro. I don't think a lot of enough people. I think this is very very underrated, but words casting spells, bro. Guarding
mhm,
your language, protecting your language. What do you say? When Garrison messages me, say, "Yo, what's good, bro?" I say everything, every single time. Everything's good, bro.
mhm.
Everything. Blessed and highly favored. How are you? Like dude, I can't tell you how many times I told somebody, "Yo, bro, I'm blessed and highly favored." And if you looked at me, like everything around me was not blessed and highly favored, bro. But it doesn't matter the circumstances, right? You got to like
Mhm.
that's where like Steve Jobs talks, but you almost have to be crazy, right? Because the ones who believe
That's-
they're the ones that are crazy enough to think they could actually change the world are the people who actually do it. And
mhm,
you have to be a little bit crazy. And Conor McGregor actually talks about it a little bit too. There's an amazing video of early Conor McGregor talking about he's like, you have to be a little bit gone in what you do, like a little bit crazy. He's like, yeah, I don't think like a normal person does. Like I'm a little bit like if you compare me to a normal person, I'm probably a little bit crazy. Like you would think, why do you think in patterns and numbers and sequences? Like that's so weak. The average person doesn't do that, but he's an
yeah.
elite level athlete, and there's a reason why he does that because he's a little bit crazy.
No,
And
honestly, no, and that's and I think that's the biggest thing at the end of the day. Like, who said it? Like, there's another person that said it. Like, honestly, they said they're gonna just do it, and like, no, oh yeah, like Andrew Tate says it there too as well. But like, there was a person that like I I knew from like high school, and like everyone just doubted him. He's like, yo, I'm gonna make one of the biggest clothing brands in Toronto. People were like, nah, you don't got the style. You don't have the, you don't have the skill to make something look fashionable. And now like, now I think his business is now almost worth almost close to $1 million. And I'm like, yo, you're looking at it, I'm like, yo, bro, like and it's called waves too, in a way. Like he's really controlled the waves of like fashion in Toronto too as well. Right. So like I look at some people like that and I'm just like here thinking in my head, I'm like, bro, it's like, yeah, you just have to be a little extra hungry, right? People don't like to say crazy. People don't like to say obsessed. People don't like to say, yo, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, but you have to sometimes. Even when people say like good morning to me, I'm like, yo, don't ever say good morning
yep.
to me. Like I say grand rising because it's like, look, you're hey, because like, yo, and this is like
Yep.
a little history, like, when they used to say this to slaves, is like, they're mourning over the people that they lost because the slave masters would take, their
Wow.
loved ones and kill them and or sell them off and and they'd be crying until morning. That's why they say good morning. So I'm just like here thinking in my head, I'm like, damn,
Wow.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
I'm not doing that. So I'm like from now on, I'm like, yo, no one's ever gonna say to me or like I'm even gonna say good morning. I'm like grand rising or rising. That's it. You know what I mean? It's
Yep.
funny that my name, like my IG name is RJ Uprising because I'm just like I never even thought about that until I knew that like I think a couple years ago or a year ago. So I was just like, oh shoot, it's kind of like funny how it kind of works into a way. So you know, yeah, man.
Bro, it's so important. And I think people don't do that enough where they like, I didn't know that in depth of that knowledge on it, but like the morning, right? I know you when you start to like Googling and defining like words, that's when it becomes like interesting. Like, wow, there's one word means so much more than just one word. And like we're talking about crazy, right? Crazy is just a perspective
Hmm.
because Alex Morton actually taught me this. Crazy is a perspective, bro. Is it
Hmm.
is it crazy for you to get on a jet today, a private jet, go spend $500,000 on jewelry, fly back all in the same day? Or is that normal? He's like, because if it was normal, you'd probably be a millionaire, a billionaire. You'd probably have your own businesses. You'd have multiple streams, but that would be normal to you. It's
Hmm.
crazy to the person who doesn't believe that it's true. It's
Yeah.
all perspective. And dude, like that highly undervalued. Like I'm glad you brought that up, bro, because a lot of people I feel like don't know that stuff. Like they don't think about that stuff. I'm a big believer in the words casting spells. Garrison probably knows. Like dude, on my Twitter, everybody says GM, GM, GM. Mine's GR, 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 Grand Rising, blessed and highly favored.
Hmm.
Like it's like, dude, it's the little things. I think Jim Rohn talks a lot about it too. He's like, he's like he calls they're not stoplights, they're go lights. When
Hmm.
you get to them, you have to wait to go. Or
Mm.
honestly, I was texting Garrison earlier today, and people don't like this is stuff you think about, right? Maybe we're a little crazy, bro. But I texted him. Let me see. I think I literally typed it like deleted what I was saying. I said because I was about to say yeah I'm down. And I'm like no. I deleted it. I said I'm up for it because I'm not down, bro. I'm up. Like
Yeah, I
I'm
say
up.
I'm
We're
bet.
up,
I
baby.
bet money. Yeah, I always say I'm bet. I'm on it. So yeah, no, I agree with that. That's definitely a thing that we all need to start working on as a community, as
Mhm.
people overall, because like we, especially with social media nowadays, it's just like apparently they said the internet died like 8 years ago, 6 years ago, because now there's just so much AI processors that are just processing all the stuff that we've been watching back in the day. And I'm just here thinking in my head, I'm like, this is why they're getting to us so easily. This is why
Yeah.
like a lot of people are just saying like, it is what it is. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's I just kind of look at each and every day as a way of just getting better. Sprucing up my vocab and just watching what I say, watching who I speak to, because like that's also another thing. It's like I've been praying, I've been speaking. I'm always gonna find good like-minded individuals around me to join my business or to have me start a business together. Like I always say those words of affirmations because at the end of the day, it's like it's who you attract. What you say is who you attract. You know what I mean? So some people say like I'm toxic. Well, if you're toxic, you're definitely gonna find people that are toxic,
Yep.
right? So yeah, no, and in so many different ways. So yeah, looking at it, yeah, it's just one of those things we have to just be very mindful of.
Exactly, bro. And like even the people you surround yourself with, right? The people you like, dude, I love what you said. The people you lead also lead you. And like growing up, bro, my dad used to say like all the time to me, he said, you're hanging around turds, you're gonna start smelling like shit. Like, like, and I'm like, what are you talking? Like it went over my head, bro. And now I
Mm,
get it, he's calling the people turds who aren't, there mentally. And I
hmm
was hanging out with them, and eventually, bro, I smelled like shit. Like I wasn't a good person. And it
hmm
takes that self-reflecting that we talked about, bro, to ultimately say, hey, look, actually maybe I do kind of suck as a person. Maybe that's why nobody wants to be my friend. Maybe that's why I have no, like you got to
hmm
really reflect on these things, bro, because
For
dude,
real.
the more you learn about these things, the more I understand how Bob Proctor was able to like go up to somebody and understand them in a blink of a second. Because
hmm
the words they say, how they speak, what they allow themselves to say can tell you everything about a person, bro. Like if they're saying, "Oh, I've always been like that. I've always been little. I've always been this. I've always whatever it is, right? I've always been." Well, you're never gonna change then. I've always been broke, or I've always been the dude. And he would just talk to a person for like 10 seconds, bro, and could tell you like everything about them. And because of these things, bro, understanding the words they allow themselves to say, the more kind of crazy we are, the more we think about these things, the more like intellectual you actually become because like you don't allow yourself to vibrate at a low frequency.
Yeah,
Like I don't
no.
want to vibrate low like that, bro. I'm high value. I'm top
Right,
notch. Like
right,
if I was any better, bro, it'd be illegal. Like
right, right. Government be asking for you right now. All right,
yeah, right. Yeah. Matter of fact, I got a deny call.
right.
But yeah, bro, there's so many things I think ultimately that, the masses could improve on, bro. But even though we've kind of rambled on, it was a good ramble. But I want to ask you a few more like in-depth questions.
Yeah.
You're a high value man, bro. Like you do multiple things. How do you balance running multiple ventures simultaneously?
Geez, I schedule things to the point. Like if I tell you my mornings, like I have late mornings depending on the situations. Like I know when I tell people when I'm trading, I actually don't trade the first week and the last week of the month, just because of market recorrections and of course overviews and all that stuff. And just people always, loving just, pulling a couple of strings behind closed doors. We got to watch out for those liquidity swipes and everything like that too as well. So I always tell my team and just people, I focus on mainly my business, my basketball adventures and other businesses in the first week and the last week of the month. And then I really hone in and dial in on the middle of the 2 weeks of of each month on my trading and just, of course, my trading knowledge too, right? So studying, getting on the charts, back testing, looking at different um, coins and, of course, different entries and just going at it. And my earliest days that I start is like 6 a.m. sometimes, do my breath work in the morning. And then, of course, I do some high frequency, like, meditation too as well. Then jump into the charts for about from like 9 to about 12, from 12 to 1 or 1:30 ish. I get a lift in from like my Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then after lifts, it's training sessions, coaching. And then I'm going back to either finishing up with calls for, of course, the businesses. And then I just repeat depending on the situation at hand. So sometimes if I really need I think a de-stressor or just a relaxation or I've been doing too much, I do wake up at like 10:30-ish. Like that's on a really like day, depending on how the weather is over here, because seasonal depression is a real thing. Don't get me
For
wrong,
real. It is.
but I don't get depressed. I get low energy, right? But it's just making sure I'm eating the right way and stuff like that because I am vegan too. So like I'm not just having regular just protein or chicken and steak like how I used to. So now being that part too is just like, yeah, I gotta be really on my stuff. But that's how I kind of manage my stuff, to be honest with you guys. Um I I have my schedule, like my big ass planner in the back here, literally in my room here, and my tasks. Who am I speaking to today? What time frames do I have open? Can I take this call? Where do I have to be at this time? And just always plotting, right? Because I feel like if your calendar is not full, your bank account's definitely not gonna be full, right?
Yep.
And I know Alex Morin and a few other people have definitely said that. Bob Proctor said that too as well, and rest RIP to that guy too as well
Yep.
because I got to meet him in person too as well. So like, no, he's been an amazing individual to
Yeah,
the whole.
bro. I saw Bob speak, I want to say back maybe like a year before he passed away, 2 years before he passed away. One of the most like bro, I've been to a lot of webinars, seminars, this, that, the other, coachings, trainings. But bro, that was by far the most impactful like thing I've ever listened to was from Bob Proctor. And
Mm,
like even to this day, bro, the stuff he talks about is so in depth. Even like the Neville Goddards, bro. Neville
mm,
Goddard. A lot of those guys were in that same ballpark around the same time. So, I feel like for a little range there for a while, there wasn't a lot of people who thought like all of us. Like, I feel like we're becoming the new thought leaders, bro. We're gonna be the new Bob
mm.
Proctors, the RJ, the Garrison Raleigh, the Tyler. So
Yeah.
we're on our way up, bro. And
Yeah.
it's nice to see that.
No, we just gotta stand together, listen together and just honestly like build things together. And,
Oh,
I'm gonna speak on my city a little bit too. It's like as much as like, people love Toronto, a lot of people here when it comes to just building businesses or just being able to build together is so terrible over here. It's a doggy dog world over here. It's just like if someone wants to do the same thing as you, they just want to keep it for themselves. A lot of people just do it for the money and not for the actual purpose of helping. And that's what I think irritates me the most when being in my city. A lot of people hate on what you do before they actually support, right? They'll either hate or congratulate. And it's so funny how it almost rhymes in a way because it's just like, but support for some reason doesn't.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
and it's just, yeah, the way I look at it, it's just like, yo, if you can't support me, why congratulate me? If
yep.
you're not gonna be a part of it, if you're not gonna, spread the word, if you're not gonna, just even be around, willing to ask. Like I have a couple of people that are actually asking me, like, yo, what are you doing at this time? I'm doing a podcast actually. They're like, yo, wait, what? Who? Where? I want to watch. I'm like, yo, like, I'll let you know what the details are, but when it comes out, it comes out. Like, just, settle down. But I appreciate you guys, like, coming out for the support. And then some people are like, oh, that's nice. You know, it is what it is. But when I kind of look at my city, I'm disappointed to see that, especially because like we do have so much talent over here, and I think we have a lot of talent overall in the world, but we just don't help each other the right way. Right?
yeah.
We don't have
Yep.
enough kind hearts out there anymore, which sucks.
Definitely, bro. No, I heard it from somebody, and I can't remember who it was. So many great people out there speaking great things, but there's two ways you could build the city. Build the tallest tower in the city. You could either tear everybody else's down to
Hmm.
try to make yours look bigger, or you could simply work with everybody in the city, work together as a team, and build the largest tower.
Yeah.
Like there's two ways. You can either tear everybody else's down and make yours look tall, or you could just simply build the biggest tower with the best people in town.
Mhm. Yeah. It's funny. I live by that in a way too, because like as much as, and I kind of refer this back to Kobe, and this is why like a lot of people really understood like he's just like the split image of Michael, but I'm like, no, he's really not, because he actually got to learn. He didn't dislike anybody in the league. He admired people that had what he wanted,
Yeah.
right? When he learned from Hakeem when he was learning about the post moves and step throughs and everything. It's just like boom. When it came to just being physical, coming off screens and stuff like that, he was looking at Jason Kidd and all those guys. It's just like boom. I'm like, yo, I'm like here thinking in my head, I'm like, that's how people gotta like look at life, because life is
Yeah.
also the way you play is the way you live, and that's how like that's also another like you know quote I kind of like run by with all my players too as
Hmm.
well. You just gotta the way you kind of like project yourself is also the way you're gonna also move with certain things too as well. So if I know I'm willing to always pass the ball, that means I'm always willing to hear somebody out or help somebody out. But if you're just gonna be selfish, that means just you're just focused on you and nothing but you, right? Or whatever makes your pockets flow. But yeah, no, I look at that early the same way in a way. I always want to build with people. I don't want to build against people. It's not fun.
Facts, bro. It's a lot more fun to build with people and to build everybody up and everybody wins than it is to like compete against it. Like there's so much room for everybody to win, bro. Everybody thinks it's so limited out there, which is why they're not winning big because they
Mhm.
think a lacking mindset because of limitation. They're limiting they think there's not enough, the lack of money, right? And even I think the mindset on money, people think there's not enough to come around. Well, that's probably why you don't have enough to come around.
Mhm. Really, that's real fact.
Yeah, but I like what you said, bro, because Kobe, I mean, Kobe's a genius, but I think a lot of people should take this and not in a negative connotation, but a positive one, because good artists copy, but great artists steal. Kobe was stealing those moves from the people who he deemed to be great artists.
Mhm.
They were ultimately that's what it is, art, right? They have their own type of move, their own style, their own finesse on it. So I like that, bro, because he took things from other people, and I think a lot of people, like we all do. I think the best people in life take something from everybody: the
Mhm.
postman, the mailman, the guy who sweeps, the janitor, the CEO. Everybody has something to teach you. Majority of
Mhm.
people probably teach you what not to do, but everybody can teach you something.
Right? It's just
And one
applying and going after.
one thing I said the other day in the chat was like in our group chat is what's the point of being at the top if you didn't bring anybody with? There's a lot of people, you've seen a lot of people that are great and they talk and maybe they still have a lot of money, but they're super lonely and don't have anything to do or people to spend their money with or like for example, there's a lot of people that I've I've been seeing a lot of posts about like where Kai Cenat and his people like he's just paying for everybody. And like that's not really sustainable. And there was like a post of him seeming sad, but in reality, I think he was just tired. But anyways, like you have to bring people with you so that you can do the things that you want to do with the people that you love. It's not going to be fun if you're just sitting there doing it yourself. And yeah, you'll still have some fun, but it's always going to be better with your loved ones. So
100%. I always rock with that quote too, because it's just like, yo, it's like why do it with people that are strangers?
right.
I mean, like it's funny. They say people strangers are gonna support you the most and support your business the most versus the
True.
people that are really um doing it. So I'm just like here, for example, I'm just here thinking in my head. I'm always telling my boys, yo, let's both of us become six-figure traders on a day-to-day basis. Yo, let's go travel the world. Let's go own a team. Let's go play on a team. Let's like we gotta do it, right? And I'm just tired of kind of seeing people, yeah, yeah, yeah. But like, yo, you should just go and do it. Like, why are you scared?
Exactly.
Like we're all basically in our 20s or basically coming out of our 20s just now. And like, a lot of us haven't done what we set out to do. So if people haven't done that, I mean, like, yo, this is the time like that you should be doing it with your loved ones or your bros or your sisters or whoever it is. Like whoever you have a vision with, just get it going and run with it. Right.
Nike said it best.
Mm-hmm.
Just do it.
Yes, sir.
Facts, bro. Well, RJ, it has been a blast with you. Honestly, been a blast on here with you, man. We've had a lot of good conversations. Honestly, I felt like we could have just sat here all night and yapped it up,
Yeah, we
dude.
could for
Yeah.
sure.
We have. I feel like we got a lot in common as far as philosophies go and the way we all think. And dude, it's been great to even get to know you a little bit more in depth and see who you are, bro. It's been an awesome time here. Thank you for hopping on. Where can people find you? Where can they hit you up at?
IG RJ Uprising. You already know the vibes. Um,
That's good.
Social media is not my best. I would give out my number, but I'm not gonna give out anybody my number right now. But definitely IG is the first start, and just shoot a DM. I'll reply. I'll give out whatever answers or whatever questions anybody may have. But honestly, I just only wish nothing but the best for everybody in your community and you guys for the rest of the year, because I can't wait to really run some stuff with you guys going forward. And for everybody else in the chat, stay dedicated, stay loyal, stay communicated, stay active listening to everything that's going on, because these guys have a lot to drop. And just position yourselves, because 2025 is going to be insane, like insane. I'm super amped for it. My hair, sometimes when I really get out of my chest or something really comes out of my spirit, I feel in my hair. I feel in the ether. But yeah, no, you just guys just take it and run. Whatever you have, whatever you're good at, make it a business, run with it. Find people that support you, that love you, and push you to be the best version of yourself. That's it. And just do it.
Just do it.
Yeah, bro.
Any
It was
closing
great having
remarks?
you on.
I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you as well, bro. I'm gonna read real quick before we cut off. There's a chapter in the book, The Power of Awareness, bro. And Garrison probably already knows what chapter it is. It's chapter 12. I'm gonna read it real quick. If you gotta go, you're more than welcome to jump off, but I'm gonna read this as the closing remark, bro, because a lot of the stuff we talked about relates to this exact thing. It's chapter 12, Subjective Control. If you're looking at the video, it's The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. If you're listening, you heard it. Anyway, he says, your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. All progress, all fulfillment of desire depend upon the control and concentration of your attention. And attention may either be attracted from without or directed from within. Attention is attracted from without when you are consciously occupied with the external impressions of the immediate present. The very lines on this page are attracting your attention from without. Your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you will be preoccupied with mentally. And there's more to it, bro, but that's the main point of it. I just wanted to leave that as the closing remarks. Again, RJ, it was a blast. Thank you for coming on, man. It was a pleasure to get to know you and to ask you these questions. I'm sure it's not the last time we'll be talking to each other, and we'll have you on in the future for another podcast.
100%, guys. Appreciate you guys once again.
Not a problem.
Absolutely, bro.
Don't forget to tap in with him. We'll see you guys next.
Tap in RJ Uprising on IG. Let's go. We'll see you in the next one.